This is Diana Jarvis from the Young Reporter Scheme, and today I'm speaking to Danno, who did the scheme in 2013. Dylan won in the event category with his article about the migratory behaviour of toads. At the time, this was a really big issue as toad numbers were diminishing, and Dylan took the initiative to write about the road closures outside of Richmond Park. Hi Dylan, and welcome to this podcast. It's really nice of you to give up your time today, and thank you for agreeing to speak with me.
No, thanks for having me on.
Dylan, you did the scheme some years ago now, and I'm really interested to sort of see how you found the scheme at the time and how it sort of benefited you further down the line.
It was really helped in terms of opening my horizons. I was was and am very much a technical mindset, very much into the more math sciences field and the humanities, long form writing, etc. So this kind of opportunity to go in, research my local area, discover more about the history of things I'd been around for a while but never really looked more into. And at the same time, develop these writing skills that I'd been neglecting really, was really great. Yeah.
And you then sort of, when you finished school, you went on to university. I think you went to Cambridge, didn't you?
Yeah. Studied engineering at Cambridge.
And tell me about your journey since then.
Sure. Graduated about 9 months back now, middle of COVID, which yeah, not ideal. But did manage to find a job with this document comprehension startup called Shipamax, working on taking invoices and then automatically understanding this is the invoice total, this is the invoice number, etc.
Right. And did you do any other work experience during your time at university?
I did quite a bit, but mostly on the engineering side. I didn't really follow up the journalism side much. So I was working with Rolls-Royce on their jet engines, jet engine manufacturing, working with a small nuclear robotics company up in the north, and also with Ocado's research division.
So you decided to follow the engineering field, which is great. I mean, lots of our journalists have gone, lots of different routes in the time that they've done it. So you're sort of with this company now. Is this a full-time job?
Yeah.
So what sort of aspirations do you have for the future?
It's kind of hard to say. I suppose my most immediate short-term aspiration is surviving out of lockdown. But I suppose that's most of ours. Don't really have too much of a long-term plan, to be honest. I'm an Australian national as well, so considering longer term, possibly going back to Australia, especially when it's like last week, 0 degrees weather. But
Absolutely.
no solid plans. Yeah.
So going back to your time of young reporter, what was your favourite part?
I think the favorite part was definitely the investigation aspect, kind of researching, finding it, not just finding a story, but kind of digging in deeper into things that you had around you that you might have thought on the passed across your mind that this is interesting, but you never really dug much into it. I found out quite a lot of things that I hadn't really even been aware of. I was interviewed my scoutmaster about history of the scout group, and found out that there'd been quite a lot of arson attacks in the last 30 years against the scout hut, which was just something that passed completely over my head while there.
Really? That's
Yeah.
interesting. And see what you did some research on that.
Yeah. So it was that was more of an interview, but say other things I researched was the deer cull in Richmond Park and the article I won the award on, which was about the Hamgate, the road out of Hamgate in Richmond Park closing down every year to allow a toad migration, which I thought was
Yeah, that
just
was one.
bizarre seeing those signs. Yeah.
That was a brilliant article there, and something that we learnt, because I didn't know that happened, and actually that does happen quite a lot now. I don't know whether they started it, but it does happen, and you see these quite a lot. So what do you think the skills you took from the scheme?
Definitely long form writing. That was something I kind of struggled with. Not so much finding ideas to write, but more the proofreading side. I was diagnosed dyslexic in high school, so having this opportunity to carry out long form pieces, then review these at length and try to get these up to professional standard, was very useful to have done, and then helped with all the reports I was writing throughout uni.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that would help you at university, and also deadlines, I guess, which is something else. So at the moment you're working full time, and you're obviously staying in the engineering field. But Dylan, it's been great to talk to you, and I really appreciate you giving up your time, and thank you very much for agreeing to do this podcast.
Oh, it's no problem.
This has been Diana Jarvis from the Young Reporter Scheme talking to Dylan Danno.